My dear friends, tonight I want to speak to you of something so profound, so wondrous, that it may at first seem to you a fantasy, yet I assure you it is the eternal truth of your being. Even the impossible will manifest for you. This is not a poetic phrase nor mere encouragement. It is a spiritual law. There is no such thing as impossible in the dimension of consciousness, for all things exist in the infinite imagination, which is God Himself. And that God, my beloved, is your own wonderful human imagination. You may be tempted to look out at the world and judge your desires by appearances, by bank accounts, by medical reports, by employment status, but I tell you, do not let Caesar's world define your reality. What you imagine and feel to be true will become your experience. All things are possible to him that believeth, said the Lord, not to him that waits or hopes, but to him who believes inwardly and completely. The only true test of belief is action, mental action, the ability to persist in the assumption that what you desire is already yours, even when every outer sense denies it. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So when I say that even the impossible will manifest for you, I mean that your assumption, when persisted in, is more powerful than any so-called fact. You are not subject to fate. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the operant power, if you will only dare to assume. When you close your eyes and imagine lovingly, when you dwell in the end and feel the thrill of accomplishment, you are planting the seeds of reality. And these seeds, my dear, must grow. They cannot help but manifest, for imagination creates reality. So do not ask how it will come. The how is not your concern. Your task is to live as though it already is, to walk by faith and not by sight, to clothe yourself inwardly in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. For what you dare to claim inwardly, God, the I am in you, will externalize. I have seen it, I have lived it, and you will too, if you remain faithful to the unseen reality you dare to claim. Imagine wisely, and do not be shaken by delay or contradiction. Remain in the state of the wish fulfilled, and the world will rearrange itself around your assumption. Even the impossible, yes, even that which men say cannot be, will manifest for you, for with God all things are possible, and God is in you as your imagination. Let me tell you a truth that the world has long forgotten, and yet it is the secret behind every miracle, every answered prayer, and every transformation of life. Imagination is God, not a metaphor, not a symbol, but literal truth. When the Scriptures declare, "Be still and know that I am God," they are not pointing you to someone in the clouds. They are calling you inward to the silent power that forms worlds. Your own wonderful human imagination is the creative power of God within you. It is not separate from you, it is the very core of your being. All things that you now see around you were once only imagined. Every building, every book, every invention, every movement in the world, all of it began in the unseen realm of imagination. And just as others have shaped their world through imagination, so can you. You see, imagination is not a daydream, it is not idle fantasy, it is a spiritual act, the movement of the divine within you. When you imagine a thing and feel it to be real, when you assume the state of the wish fulfilled and dwell in it, you are performing a creative act equal to that of the biblical God saying, "Let there be light." Because in truth, you are that God, clothed in human form, learning again how to create consciously. Nothing can come into your world except through your own imagination. The world is yourself pushed out. It is a mirror reflecting your inner state. Change your imagination and your world will change accordingly. You may ask, but how can something imagined become real? I tell you, because imagination is reality. The moment you accept a thing inwardly, the outer world must obey. You do not need to beg or struggle. You only need to imagine and feel it as already done. Persist in that state, and reality will shape itself around your vision. That which seems impossible becomes inevitable when assumed in imagination. The secret lies in feeling. Feeling is the secret. It is not enough to see the image. You must feel its truth, its reality. That is the divine act. The world will say, be realistic. But I say to you, dare to believe in the unseen. Dare to call those things which be not as though they were. For all things exist in imagination, waiting for you to call them forth. This is the God, power within you, not a distant deity, but the I Am presence, the imaginer in you. That which you imagine with conviction, you shall experience. So rise in consciousness. Assume your desire is already fulfilled. Rest in that state and let the world reflect it. For imagination is God, and imagination creates reality. My dear friends, I urge you tonight to cast off the chains of doubt, to forget what the world has taught you about limitation and failure, and to embrace this eternal truth. Nothing is impossible to you. I do not say this lightly, nor as a figure of speech. I say it as one who has proven it, lived it, and seen it work in the lives of countless others. The words of Scripture are not poetic flourishes, they are psychological truths. When the Bible declares, with God all things are possible, it is not referring to a distant being, it is speaking of your own wonderful human imagination, for God and your imagination are one. What is it that you seek? Is it health? Is it financial freedom? Is it love, success, purpose, peace? And have you been told it cannot be? Have you accepted that lie from the world? Then hear me now. There is no power outside of you that can limit you, save the beliefs you hold within. If you dare to imagine something and persist in that assumption, no matter how impossible it may seem to the reasoning mind, it must become your reality. For nothing can stand against the man or woman who lives inwardly in the end state of their desire fulfilled. The impossible is only the unclaimed. That which men call impossible is only that which they have not yet imagined with faith. It is not a wall, it is a shadow, and when you turn on the light of consciousness, of belief, that shadow disappears. I tell you, everything in your world is a mirror of your inner state. If you feel lack, you see lack. If you feel love, you draw love. But if you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even when all appearances deny it, the world must yield to your assumption. The law of consciousness is absolute. You do not need to know how it will happen. That is not your concern. You are not the orchestrator of outer conditions. You are the dreamer of dreams, and your only task is to imagine and feel as though your dream were already real. That feeling, when held faithfully, will call forth all means, events, people, and circumstances to make it so. The world will bend to your inner conviction. As it is written, all things are possible to him that believeth, and belief is nothing more than loyal imagination. So tonight, dare the impossible. Imagine the thing that stirs your heart and makes you come alive. See it clearly, feel it deeply, walk in it boldly. It matters not how impossible it may appear to others, for their doubts are not your law. Your belief is the law. Live from the end, and the impossible shall be made real. For there is no fiction in imagination, and nothing is impossible to God, and God is in you. Let me reveal to you a sacred key, a divine secret that unlocks the treasure house of heaven and brings your desire into visible form. You must live in the end. By this, I mean you must enter the state of already having what you seek. You must walk mentally and emotionally in the assumption that your wish is fulfilled, regardless of outer evidence. Do not concern yourself with how it will come to pass. The bridge of incidents will unfold on its own. Your only duty is to live and feel as though your desire is already yours. This is the great art of living from the end, and it is the foundation of all manifestation. The world will teach you to react to what is seen, to circumstances, to appearances, to facts. But I tell you, those things are shadows, effects of former assumptions. If you want to change your world, you must first change the state from which you live. To live in the end is to step beyond reason and occupy the state of fulfillment. What would it be like if it were true? This is the question you must ask, and having answered it, you must dwell in the feeling of that answered prayer, not as a visitor, but as a resident, not for a moment, but continuously. You must think from it, feel from it, act from it, as though it were already so. When you live in the end, you move beyond wishing and enter into knowing. You cease asking and begin claiming. You are no longer trying to become, you are being. This is not pretense, it is creation. You are not pretending that something is true. You are declaring, by faith, that it is already accomplished in the unseen. He calleth those things which be not as though they were, said the Apostle Paul. That is, he calls them into being by assuming their reality. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the secret. If you persist in that feeling, the outer world must conform to it. It cannot resist, for it has no reality of its own. It is only a reflection of your inner state. Therefore, when you revise your inner conversations and dwell in the end, you are molding the clay of reality itself. Do not be shaken by delay or contradiction. Remain faithful to your assumption. The law will not fail you. So I say to you, live in the end. See only that which you desire to see. Hear only what you want to hear. Feel only what aligns with your wish fulfilled. For imagination creates reality, and the only way to bring your dream into form is to occupy it now in consciousness. Live from it, not toward it. Claim it as already yours, and it shall be so. This is the law. This is the promise. Let me tell you something that may shake the very foundation of your beliefs, but I tell you it in love and in truth. Facts are not final. What you see with your physical eyes, what you hear from the world, what you experience through your senses, these things are but the echo of past assumptions. They are not laws, they are not truth, they are only the out-picturing of your old beliefs, hardened into the illusion of reality. And if you want to change your world, you must not bow to facts. You must rise in faith, for faith is greater than fact. The world worships facts. It tells you to be realistic, to accept your current condition, to adjust your desires to match what seems possible. But I tell you, you were never meant to live by sight alone. You are a spiritual being endowed with the divine gift of imagination, and it is your imagination, guided by faith, that creates your world. We walk by faith, not by sight, says Scripture. This is not an empty phrase. It is the law of life. To walk by faith is to disregard the outer senses and to cling boldly and persistently to the unseen reality you have imagined. Facts may tell you you are poor, but faith declares you are prosperous. Facts may show you illness, but faith knows you are whole. Facts may present loneliness, failure, or lack, but faith sees the finished picture, the dream fulfilled, the prayer answered. Faith is not passive hope. It is active assumption. It is the willingness to ignore what is and focus only on what you desire, as though it were already so. This is not madness. It is divine wisdom, for everything that is seen was first unseen. Everything visible was first imagined and believed in, often in defiance of the facts. The facts will tempt you. They will whisper, this is reality, be reasonable, it cannot be changed. But you must answer them as your master did in the wilderness. Man shall not live by bread alone. You live by every word of assumption, every inner feeling, every act of faith. Do not react to facts. Create beyond them. Persist in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and the facts will rearrange themselves to reflect your new inner state. That is the law of consciousness. The world is a mirror, not a master. So tonight I urge you, let faith be your vision. Let faith rewrite your inner conversations. Let faith paint the picture of your future, and dare to believe it over all so-called evidence. Hold firm to your assumption even when everything contradicts it. Why? Because faith overcomes the world. Faith speaks life into the lifeless, order into chaos, and possibility into the seemingly impossible. Facts are the past. But faith is the power of God in action, and it will always triumph if you remain true to your assumption. Tonight, I want to impress upon you a truth so vital, so liberating, that once accepted, it will forever change the course of your life. The truth is this: you are the operant power. Not luck, not fate, not some external deity, but you. In the silence of your own imagination, in the deep currents of consciousness, you are the one who shapes and directs your reality. All that you experience, whether joy or sorrow, success or struggle, has been brought into being by the assumptions you hold and the states you occupy. There is no power outside of you. You are the creator, not the creation. Now, you may say, surely there are powers beyond me, governments, people, economy, illness, circumstances, and I say, yes, those things exist, but only as reflections of the inner state you have consented to dwell in. They are not causes, they are effects. You see, the world is a mirror, forever reflecting what you believe to be true of yourself. The moment you shift your assumption truly and sincerely, the mirror must reflect it. But it will never move first. It waits upon your command. You are the operant power, and imagination is your instrument of creation. I have said this many times. It does not matter how true a thing appears to be if you do not believe in it or assume it. The law of consciousness does not work automatically. It is not triggered by begging or pleading. It is activated by assumption, and that assumption must come from you. You must operate the law. Just as flipping a switch brings light, assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled brings manifestation. If you do nothing, nothing changes. If you assume something new appears. That is the power you hold. And so I say, do not wait. Do not delay your happiness, your healing, your prosperity, waiting for some sign from the heavens. You are the sign. You are the one who decides when and how your dream shall manifest. The law is always waiting for you to operate it. Don't ask if it works. Ask how faithfully you are using it. Dare to assume the highest about yourself, and then live from that place. The law will not fail you, but you must not abdicate your role as its master. You are not a puppet of destiny, you are the author of it. Everything you imagine and feel to be true begins to take shape the moment you assume it. Others may play their parts, but they are drawn to you based on your state of being. So tonight, claim your power, step into the authority that has always been yours, assume lovingly, boldly, and persistently, and remember always you are the operant power, and the whole of life responds to you. And so I say to you now, with fire in my voice and truth in my heart, rise up and claim your divine inheritance. You are not small, not forgotten, not powerless. You are not a product of chance or the victim of fate. You are the living embodiment of God's creative power, clothed in flesh and bone, endowed with the infinite potential of imagination. You are not here to suffer or to settle. You are here to create, to command, to awaken, and to glorify God, not in the clouds, but within yourself. Every dream in your heart is a seed planted by the divine. It is not a tease or a fantasy. It is a promise waiting for you to water it with belief and bring it to harvest through assumption. Look around you, not to be discouraged, but to be reminded of what you no longer choose. The outer world is yesterday's thoughts made visible, but today, right now, you hold the pen and you may write a new story. There is no power outside of your consciousness that determines your fate. The power is within you. It has always been within you. The question is, will you now operate it? Will you now stand in the boldness of your I am and declare, I am what I desire to be? For if you can feel it and live in it and refuse to be moved by the facts, it must come to pass. That is not hope, that is law. Let this be the moment you stop waiting for a sign and become the sign. Let this be the moment you stop praying as a beggar and begin creating as a master. The moment you shift your assumption, your entire world begins to bend toward your vision. Doors will open, people will appear, circumstances will rearrange, all to support the new state you have dared to occupy. Do not ask how. That is not your concern. Ask only, do I believe it enough to feel it real? Because once you feel it, the unseen must become seen. It is spiritual law, and law cannot fail. So wake up, dreamer, refuse to live another day as a prisoner of doubt, burn every excuse, Tear down every limitation. Stand tall in the temple of your imagination and declare, "It is done." Not someday, now. Not maybe, surely, not if when. The impossible is bowing before your faith. The unseen is waiting for your permission, and the world is ready to reflect your inner glory. This is your moment. This is your power. You are the operant power, and you were born to rise, to create, to shine, and to reign. Go forth in imagination, go forth in faith, go forth in love, and make manifest the life you have already dared to live in the unseen. It is yours. Now claim it boldly.